Tennessee at Arkansas, Razorback Stadium, 7:30 Eastern, ABC. Fayetteville will be on fire for this one. Now, don't let that record fool you for Arkansas. 2 losses. I mean, each of those is only by 1 score. Quite frankly, they should have beaten Oklahoma State. They had them on the ropes, let them off the hook. And then the Texas A&M game, have the football with a chance to go win it, strips that game, blouses, that's how it goes. But if you're Arkansas, man, this is the chance to hit the reset on the entire season for you. Have a couple games that haven't gone your way, a couple of games that you feel like you really probably woulda, coulda, shoulda won. But with that being said now, who do you have coming to town? Top 5 Tennessee team. They're off a bye. Everyone's telling them how good they are. This is a burn the boats kind of situation for the Pitt Boston Company. This is the one where you empty the chamber, you go all in. I mean, I'm sure, again, the atmosphere will be electric and then some. Like, this is a chance now where you rewrite the narrative around your season, go get a big win at the crib, and we're all talking about Sam Pittman and Taylen Green a little bit differently than we are right now. College football sickos, make sure you are subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. It's college football, nothing but college football, game predictions like this one, analysis, instant reactions, everything that you love about college football without the hot takes and clickbait and traffic. We do that here. So we appreciate y'all being dialed in. The Hard Count is brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. $5 in lineups when you play code HARDCOUNT. Wins you $50 in promo funds. Fade or follow us if you want to. We got plays throughout the week on this channel, but we're hot right now, so go ahead and follow us. Again, code HARDCOUNT, $5 played in lineups, gets you $50 in promo funds, even if you don't win, just for playing. We appreciate y'all. Now back to the prediction. And so for that exact reason, if I'm Tennessee, this is a different kind of test. We talked about it on the channel yesterday. Another reason to be subscribed. How do you handle success? I mean, if you want to go play for all the big-time trophies, you have to handle success accordingly. And this isn't so much commentary on Josh Heupel. It's not even commentary on Nico Iamaleava. It's just a commentary on this team in general. Because each year, the team resets, the culture resets. You have, that foundational piece there from the coaching staff, but every team has to hit the reset button, refocus. And what I said for Arkansas's perspective, like Tennessee, they've been hearing how good they are since that Oklahoma game ended. Wow, that's amazing. Win on the road, beat a great defense. I mean, that Josh Heupel coach team, gritty outfit, and they had a bye week this past week where there was a bunch of carnage across college football. Ole Miss goes down. A couple of other, pieces. I mean, the Georgia game happens. Tennessee now starting to climb up the rankings. So how do you handle everyone patting you on the back after you didn't play a game last week, after you had a majorly visible win over Oklahoma? Find out a lot about Tennessee and the culture for them heading into this game. Now, speaking of Tennessee, it's always going to be about the quarterback for Tennessee, right? I mean, that's always going to be a focal point of the conversation when you try to break down Tennessee and their perspective to win a football game. This game is fascinating to me in terms of the progress for Nico Iamaleava, because great quarterbacks, and we said this yesterday in our video as well, great quarterbacks are able to adjust their style to what's required in the game. What's required in this game for Nico Iamaleava? To me, looking at that Arkansas defense, who have they had success against? What have quarterbacks done that have gotten them in trouble? From what I can tell, gotten greedy. Thought that maybe a downfield pass is there when they should have just tucked it and ran or checked it down, and that is what has gotten them into trouble. So for Nico Iamaleava now, again, had a whole week, the entire offseason, everyone's told you how good you are. You had a couple games, now you had success. Everyone's told you how good you are. Are you able to keep the main thing, play within the structure of the system, not get greedy downfield, because there's going to be a couple plays now that look like they're there, and they may very well be there for Nico Iamaleava and his arm talent. But this is a situation where Arkansas is averaging 2 takeaways a game. If you give them extra bullets, if you give Taylen Green more snaps, it's not going to bode well for you, especially on the road. Crowd gets into it even more than they already are. Things get a little bit dicey. I think for Tennessee, man, this really is like the Dylan Sampson game. I mean, he's averaging 6.5 yards a carry. I think he is the table setter. And I'm not against the potential of Arkansas's defensive line having a great game. I mean, I think they definitely have shown that they can be a force up front. But the reality is you watch that game against Texas A&M, they had a lot of success with Le'Veon Moss getting downhill. A lot of success with the misdirection and the zone run schemes, and that was really what I thought gave them the most trouble. I think that'll be the same kind of flavor for Tennessee, and that'll be the table setter for them. Because you watch Tennessee now, very rarely will you see them just snap the football and huck it 40 yards with the first play of the game or the first couple of plays of the game. They're one of those offenses now that starts to trend, get a rhythm, have a couple of minimal gains, have a couple of the intermediate pass plays hit, and then they'll start taking the shots. So Dylan Sampson, the table setter for allowing that offense to get the picture they want from the defense, and honestly, he may just be the one that you lean on the road and find a way to win. Could be a game where we see Tennessee score similar to the Oklahoma game. Maybe they're not scoring 40. Maybe it's high 20s, low 30s, and that's enough to win the football game. We'll see. Now, the spread's 13.5, so Vegas obviously likes Tennessee, but I'll tell you what, man, an Arkansas upset at home is linked directly to who they have playing quarterback in Taylen Green. And the way that I think about this is like Taylen Green and what he can be in this football game really only hurts you if you're Tennessee if you allow it to be infected, kind of like a cut. Like a cut in itself, a little paper cut, it's not going to be bad news, okay? You let it heal, move on with the rest of your life. But if that gets infected, it becomes something that could, be uncomfortable for a long period of time. Maybe it gives you some problems for a couple of weeks. It becomes uncomfortable. Like all these things now, it starts to compound on one another. And that's Taylen Green, man. If you allow him to get rolling, you allow him to have some success, whether it be in the read option game, whether it be in the ad-lib game, that's where more things start to open up. Because Jaquindon Jackson now, running back for Arkansas, he's a dude in his own right. A&M did a great job holding him in check as best they could last week, but he's a guy that's averaging 6.5 yards a carry. Like if you allow it to be a situation where you're having to guess, is it Taylen Green, is it Jackson, and then some more things open up downfield, that's where this gets a little bit tricky. That's where things start to become an issue. The ad-lib game really could be the thing to watch here if you're Tennessee, because Taylen Green, when he's back there running around, yes, that's obviously annoying for your front seven, and they got to chase him, and that tires them out. But even more importantly, that puts strain on your secondary. We say it a lot on this show, man. You can cover somebody for 2 to 3 seconds. You can do that. Whether it be man coverage, zone coverage, you can hold your water for 2 to 3 seconds. But for 4 to 5 to 6 seconds, you're asking a lot. I don't care who you have on the back end. It's going to be a difficult task whenever that happens. In Arkansas now, quite frankly, they have been able to live off of plays like that. Go back and watch the A&M game. The most explosive play Arkansas had was in a scramble drill, 75-yard pass downfield, where Arkansas had a receiver just get loose. And it wasn't bad coverage. It was just too long of a period to have to cover Arkansas's receiving core. So Taylen Green, man, if you can neutralize him and neutralize the ad-lib game, you're going to be in good shape. I mean, he can have his 80 yards rushing. That's fine. But if it's the 80 yards rushing where he's able to go back and forth across the field and then goes up and wears your defense out, and then he's back and forth across the field again and throwing the ball downfield, and then you're wondering if it's 10 or if it's Jaquindon Jackson, you see how this thing could get out of hand, all right? So that's something to watch here. So in response to that, from Tennessee, going back to the test this is, we're checking a lot of things here when it comes to the traits of Tennessee. This is a major effort kind of test for Tennessee. And I don't say effort in the sense of, do they want it bad enough? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is anytime you play a dynamic dual-threat quarterback, it is a chore to have to consistently, one, stay disciplined in your assignment and not get out of your pass or your rush lane or your coverage, all those things. But at the exact same time, it takes a certain amount of intensity every single snap to be able to take the proper angle, to be able to swarm to the football. Because when you let down in those areas, that's when the big plays happen. That's when Arkansas gets life. That's when this game becomes a little bit interesting. So when it comes down to our pick in this game, I can't help but go back to what we've seen from Tennessee to this point in the year, maybe especially in that Tennessee game from the defense. Like Michael Hawkins Jr. is probably, the best sample size for you when it comes to playing against a mobile quarterback if you're a Tennessee fan trying to assess this game. They're a very versatile team, is Tennessee. This is not the 2022 outfit. And that's not to dunk on the 2022 team. Like that 2022 team, quite frankly, was just praying for stops. Offense was great, but you were praying for stops is the way that it felt. And this Tennessee team, man, this is the kind of team now where you can take them home to meet your parents, right? Previous Tennessee teams, the 2022 team, they were awesome. They were fun to watch. They were a great fling, but you're like, is this really going anywhere? Is this really a team that can win a national title that you can put a ring on? It wasn't, right? It was fun to watch. It was a great time. It was enjoyable. It was great to be around. But it wasn't one of those teams where you're like, hey, this could be the one. If I'm a Tennessee fan right now, because of the defense and because of the generational talent you have at quarterback that we've talked about ad nauseum now, and the culture from this team that we've seen to be able to go on the road in Norman, win a low-scoring game, if you're a Tennessee fan, man, this could be the one. So for that reason, I think Tennessee's team speed is enough to neutralize Taylen Green. I think the opportunistic defense doesn't get a chance to really get the ball rolling too much because of the run game. I think Nico takes care of the football. I think we see his maturity in this game. I like Tennessee to win. Y'all, I'm going to take Tennessee to cover. Went back and forth in the cover part of this, but again, I think overall James Pierce and what they have up front in that front seven is enough to create some havoc of their own, create some turnovers of their own. And I think Tennessee wins the football game, and I think they cover.